Alright, welcome back to my Is This for Progress series. Sorry I've not posted lately, lads. So over the weekend I had to go down to the farm and cut the grass. And if you've heard my description of the work involved, you know it's quite an arduous undertaking. So there's about 7 terraces, each 200 meters long, with a slope in between each terrace that's about 3 meters tall, and some of them are at a 60-degree angle, so you can't really stand on it. You can't really reach the middle from the top, it can't really reach the middle from the bottom. It's a pain in the ass, and it has to get done. So I had to go down and take a crack at it. I had to get some work done. And then on Monday, some friends came down from Scotland. So they've been here a few days, and I've just not managed to post anything given the work over the weekend and the friends visiting. So here I am, a few days late, but here we go. So this is my Ikra Shidiqi Sidar Kondo Super Life Gain deck, and it's definitely for prog. I'll say that right off. I can't really see myself playing this effectively in Ostruzna. I could say I couldn't see myself playing in Ostruzna, and that's not true. I could try it and lose and get upset and go on tilt and immediately turn to a zombie. But I'm not going to do that. So what do these two do? Alright, so Ikra Shidiqi. She costs 5 for 3/7 Menacer. Menacing Naga Wizard. Whenever a creature I control hits a player, I gain life equal to its toughness. That's pretty good. And she's pretty tough. 3/7. So if she hits somebody, wow, there's 3 points of commander damage and I get 7 life. That's not a bad deal. Sidar Kondo Jimura. Alright, so this guy, he costs 4, 2, 1 green, 1 white to a 2/5 legendary human knight with flanking. What a disability flanking. It's just like we have some empty text and we don't really have a quote for him. What should we do? Give him some bullshit ability. Vigilance? No, that's overdone. First strike? It kind of fits, but how about flanking? Yes, flanking. That's a perfect bullshit ability. He's from Mirage. Give him flanking. He's from Jimura. And so he got stuck with flanking, which is similar to Bushido. It's just Bushido in reverse. So, anyway, why is he here? He's here because he's weak, but tough. You'll see why I want him weak and tough. My creatures cannot be my creatures can't be blocked except by creatures that are flying or reach. So, unless my opponent has creatures that can fly or reach out to grab my creatures, they can't block them power 2 or less. So, he can't be blocked except by flyers or reachers. She can, because she's got a higher power. She's a 3/7 instead of a 2/7. It is what it is. So anyway, let's look at the deck. Let's see why I think this is worth playing. Why I thought this is a good idea to stack these cards up. Okay, since he's Defining Top, we'll talk about that later. Land. Palisade Giant. So she's a 2/7. She's weak and tough, and she takes all the damage that we dealt to me or another permanent I control. So as long as she's hanging, and unlike Veteran Bodyguard is cool. I love Veteran Bodyguard. He was one of my favorite cards from the first time I started playing Magic. Him and Vesuva Doppelganger. I thought those cards are just fantastic. Couldn't really get them to work the way I thought I could, but I still really like Veteran Bodyguard, and I'm really pleased that I have a signed copy. So, it's only firm-wise though, don't get excited. I don't have a beta bodyguard. So, 6 for 2/7 takes all the damage. Good. Take the damage for me. Mortivi. Instantly destroy target creature or enchantment. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Yeah, I've got Cball coffers and Urborg in here. I just shove them in decks to black. I just do that. Some people say it's a waste, it's overkill, you don't need it. You're right, but I do it anyway. Especially if I have ways of searching out one or more parts of the combo, which with Sidar Kondo and Ikra Shidiqi, I have that. And when I get to you, I'll show it to you. Plains Elspeth, Sun's Champion. So 6 for 4 loyalty planeswalker. And she gives me 3 soldiers. That's really good. If I have Soul Warden out, I get 3 life. Life gain. That's the name of this deck. Sidar Kondo, Ikra Shidiqi Super Life Gain. Which is kind of a weak way to win. It's not really highly regarded. But it works. And I like having different decks. Or neg 3, destroy a creature's power 4 or greater. Huh. Well, if all of my creatures have power 4 or less, it's a one-sided board wipe. I like that. And her emblem in this deck, I don't care about at all. In fact, even if she got to over 7, I would not trigger it because I don't want my creatures to have too high a power. And you'll see why as we continue. Well, you saw why with the neg 3. Seedborn Muse. Untap with everybody else. Reflecting Pool. Or shards. Whenever a creature comes to play under your control, you may blow up an artifact or enchantment. Sweet. Corruption Restorer. So she fits the theme. All the creatures except for 3. I think I only have 3 in the deck. With square stats, where their power and their toughness are equal. I have no creatures in this deck whose power exceeds its toughness. And I only have 3 where they're equal. So she fits that part of the theme. 3, 2 and a green for an unimposing cool art though. I mean, come on, that's some cool art. Mr. Caldwell did good with Corruption Restorer. That's beautiful. She just like this calm, peaceful druid, happily communing with nature. I like it. I like looking at it. It makes me calm and happy when she's on my board until somebody kills her. Anyway. So she can tap a land, and if I have more than 7 cards in my graveyard, 7 or more, she can untap 3 lands. Nice. Alms Collector. This came out of the aborted attempt at Arebo. I was building Arebo War of the Worlds. Is it Roar of the World or Worlds? I think it's Roar of the World, singular. Anyway, I was building that. I was building that for a while. But to build it the way I wanted, it was going to be very expensive. Just the Kodama's Reach for that deck. Just the Kodama's Reach was €70 because I wanted the Kitty Cat Secret Lair Kodama's Reach. And it's expensive. And it's far from the only card like that. I wanted Kitty Cat cards to go with my Kitty Cat Commander. And Kitty Cats ain't cheap because people like the Kitty Cats. But I had bought this Alms Collector, and when I aborted Arebo, I trying to figure, well, this is a cool creature. I should put it in something. Wait a minute. Its toughness higher than its power. It's white. It can go into Ikra Shidiqi and Sidar Kondo. So what does this kitty cat do? So she flashes into play, and if an opponent, any opponent, would draw 2 more cards, instead, they and I each draw a card. So if they go to draw 4, draw 10, any kind of mass draw, this says, no, you get 1 card. And this other asshole over here, the guy I work for, he gets a card too. So screw you. I haven't had her in play yet, but I'm sure it'd be funny when I do. Oh, here's my board wipe. Each creature punches itself in the face. So that's why all my creatures need to have a higher toughness and power. Because if I cast Wave of Reckoning and everybody punches itself in the face, my creatures don't die. One-sided board wipe. Yep, Urborg. The original Urborg. By Brian Wackwitz. So this can take away First Strike or Swamp Walk until end of turn. The First Strike is highly relevant. The Swamp Walk, I don't really see it anymore. There's very few creatures of Swamp Walk these days. I mean, the one that comes to mind immediately is Shouldered, the Whispering one, but not much else. Pretty much they're giving everything Menace because they don't want it unblockable. They want it tough to block. So, Swamp Walk, Mountain Walk, Land Walk is out. Menace and Intimidator in. Soul Ring, yep, you know what a Soul Ring is. I know what it, everybody knows what a Soul Ring is. Lisa, Forgotten Archangel. So, this bad girl, 2, white, white, black, 4/5 Legendary Angel, flying lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature control dies, get it back. if a creature and opponent would die, exile it. So, breaking symmetry. Let's keep it going. City of Brass. Yeah, this will hurt me, but I needed ways to get the colors. Needed reliable, dependable, repetitive ways of getting the colors. This does the job. And it is a life gain deck, so I thought, if I'm going to be gaining life, I can afford to lose a little bit in the name of consistency. So, City of Brass. Oran Viper. If you notice, this guy, so he's a 1/3 snake for 1 and green. So whenever he deals combat damage to a creature, it dies at the end of combat. So he doesn't have death touch per se, but he has death touch. And whenever he hits a player, I can draw a card. Yo mama's reach. Go find a couple basics. Put one on the ground, one in your hand. Shuffle. Duran the Siege Tower. Now here's it gets really interesting. So Duran here. Each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So Ikra Shidiqi would be effectively a 7/7. Sidar Kondo would be effectively a 5/5 that can only be blocked by creatures flying or reach. The Ren would be the same thing, a 5/5 that effectively can only be blocked by creatures flying or reach. So that's why he's in here. The genesis of this deck was I used to have Duran as the commander. The deck was wildly different then. It did not have the life gain theme. It had more of a tree folk theme, massive toughness matters theme, and I started. It did. I can't remember if it quit working. If it became ineffective, which is probably the case, it probably became ineffective in the hardcore environment I was playing in. But I took the deck apart, and then later when I saw Ikra Shidiqi and Sidar Kondo, I revised the idea, rebuilt it, but made Duran a piece of it rather than the command of it. Blind obedience. So my artifacts and creatures of my opponents come into play tapped. Well, my opponent's artifacts and creatures come into play tapped, and I can extort them. I can gain more life. Tithe. I tried Gift of Estates in this deck, and even though it worked, it was not satisfactory because of the sorcery speed to get 3 planes, and I want to get 3 planes. I want to make sure I get my full value out of it, but somebody has to have more lands than I do. So the one time I played it, I had intentionally missed a land drop twice to let somebody get ahead of me in lands. Because at the time I was looking to cast Gift of Estates, I was either at parity or ahead of everybody. So I needed somebody to have more in order for me to get the 3. So I took out Gift of Estates. And I tithe. Okay, so 1 white, instant speed. If I only get 1 land out of it, I think that's fair. I can find one of my color fixing lands. Godless Shrine, Temple Garden, anything like that. So, Putrefy, instantly destroy artifact creature. It's kind of like Mortify, only different. Yup, Maya Cradle of Growth. Each land is afforded. I should put some Force Walk in here. Maybe Cheddarfang, but Cheddarfang is square. He's a 3/3. Aetherflux Reservoir. Here's the Death Star. Here's the combo. Here is the coup de grace of the deck. So if I get up to a massive amount of life, and I play this, I can just activate 1 reactor core on the Death Star and blast somebody and kill them, and they're dead, and I don't have to worry about them anymore. And then I can look at the other guy, and I can say, I still have a bunch of ways to gain life. Do you surrender now, or shall I power up the Death Star? Birds. Oh yeah, it also, whenever you cast a spell, you gain life for each spell you cast this turn. So if you can chain your spells together, if you have a bunch of mana, you play something cheap, and something cheap, and something expensive, and something, you gain more life. There's combos with this, there's tricks with this. Bolus's Citadel goes very nice with Aether Reservoir, but I took it out. I took it out because of the 3 black. The 3 black was kind of, the deck was kind of choking on it. It wasn't easy to get that 3 black unless I get Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth out. So I cut it. Maybe I should put it back in. Birds of Paradise. I like how they have so many different arts of Birds of Paradise. I still want to revise one. I don't have any revised copies at the moment. And I really do like that art. So green for 0-1, flying, tap, add 1 mana of any color. Deathrite Shaman. Kind of like Birds of Paradise, only different. So he's got all kinds of stuff he can do. And anybody who's played Modern before he got banned knows he's got all kinds of stuff he can do. And it's all bad for you. So, 1-2 Elf Shaman. Tap, exile land from graveyard. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Black tap, exile target instant or sorcery card from the graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life. Green tap, exile target creature card from graveyard. You gain 2 life. So every turn I can do something as long as things are dead. Winds of Teeth. Quietly the Sun's Heart. So I believe there are only 2 cards that give the effect of creatures assign combat damage to the toughness equal to toughness rather than power. I believe Whiteley and Duran are the only 2 cards that have that ability. So I had them both in here. If there's another one, I need to know about it. Tell me if there's another one so I can get it. Unless it's red or blue. If it's red or blue, then it's like, what are you doing to me, Wizards? I need it in black, green, white. I need it. And, oh, she does other stuff. I can gain life. Equal to greatest toughness among creatures I control. Don't plan trigger that one. Yeah, forced. Fortaleza de Vorath. So, I think this is in Portuguese, actually. I don't think this is Spanish. I think somebody told me this is Portuguese. Anyway, I can tap for a colorless mana, or 1 black, 1 colorless, put a creature from graveyard back on top of my library. Pon en la parte superior de tu biblioteca la carta de criatura objetivo de tu cementerio. Yeah, I don't speak Portuguese. Vito, Thorn of the Dusk Rose. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody watching this is familiar with Vito, either on the receiving end of him or playing him. He does stuff. He kills people. In fact, I've got a Vito in the Hirobi, and that's what killed Q a few days ago. So I attacked with Eradicator Valkyrie. She's got a lifelink. Vito was in play, so he couldn't block the flyer. He took the damage, and then he lost that life because I gained life. Yeah, the game was over pretty quickly after that point. Freeze protection. Are you going to wipe my stuff? You're going to wipe my board? You're going to try to kill me? I'm going to check out for a minute. I'll be back. Dunaware Scout. So this is similar to Cross and Restore. So he puts lands from your hand on the battlefield, and she can untap them. So between the 2, if I get them in play, then I have more access to mana. Plains, Dragonlord, Drumica. You see this? You see her chin? For the longest time, I thought that was a beak. I thought her eyes were hidden behind this chitinous beak. But then I realized her eyes are up here, and this is her chin. She just has this huge smash. Pummeling chin. It's just weird, isn't it? Anyway, so she's not the most impressive. Well, I'm sure in real life she'd be impressive. But on the card, she's not the most impressive looking Elder Dragon, but she does the trick. 6 mana for a 5/7 flyer. Can't be countered, and my opponents can't cast spells during my turn. Yep, you ain't counterspelling my stuff because I have Dragonlord Drumica. Crackdown. Non-white creatures, power 3 grit. I wonder if Wizards is going to ban this for cultural insensitivity. How dare a white card tap down non-white creatures? How dare the white man keep colors down? Yeah, something like that. I mean, I could see that they went crazy with their bullshit, but they haven't revisited it. They haven't retouched it. So I don't know. They haven't said anything about it. I guess they gave up. They made their little noise. They made the little show of pretending to care about the community, and that was the end of it. But if they decide to push harder because the community demands it, I'm sure a crackdown will be on their radar. Godless Shrine. Luminous Broodmoth. I don't remember how I got a foil one. I think I got it from the genie. I'm pretty sure I got it from the genie. And I didn't know what to do with it. So eventually I shoved it in here because it makes sense. 2 white for a 3/4 flyer. Giant bug. Whenever a creature I control without flying dies, turn to the battlefield under my control with a flying counter on it. So, but also, if I steal I can't steal anybody's creatures with this deck. But if I could, that'd be funny. Because if I steal somebody's creature and it dies, then they get it back and it flies. Wouldn't be good for me, but it would be funny. Oran Frostfang. So, what was the guy called again? I just had him. I just talked about him. I mean, what? 5 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago? There he is. Oran Viper. I hate it when I forget the cards. So Oran Viper and Oran Frostfang is like baby brother, big brother. So, well, let's take a look at this. So he costs 2 more. He's twice as big in both ways, twice as powerful, twice as tough. My attacking creatures have Death Touch. He basically has Death Touch. And whenever a creature control any creature, and when neat. I never put them side by side before. I probably should have, but that was the first time. Alright, Cball, Console of Allocation. This guy won me. Well, he didn't win me a game, but he put me really far ahead once. So I got it on turn 3. So on turn 3, in the early stages of the setup phase, when everybody is casting mana rocks and ramp spells, I had Cball out. So they would, Talisman of Indulgence. Okay, you lose 2, I gain 2. What? I've got Cball out. Okay, yeah. And somebody would cultivate. Okay, you lose 2, I gain 2. Oh yeah, Cball. And then the next turn they would go down with reach. I'd lose 2, gain 2. Jesus Christ. So they wanted to kill him, but for some reason, it went about 6 turns, and nobody could kill him. And they're all ramping. They're all doing their setup stuff, putting up their defenses. So it was pretty funny for me. Flames. Murderous Rider. Swift End. Destroy target creature, planeswalker, I lose 2 life. Or, I can, well, after, I mean, not or, I do that first, and then I cast the Murderous Rider. Life linking 2/3 vampire. Zombie. Not vampire, zombie knight. There's the Triumph for Ikra Shidiqi Sidar Kondo. Hand of Justice. Yes, I have a Fallen Empire's card in the deck. And it actually works. It's on theme. So, he's a 2/6. His toughness is higher than his power. He costs a lot. He costs 6, but tap him and tap 3 target white creatures I control, destroy any target creature. And as long as he can tap the other creatures, it doesn't matter if they have summoning sickness or not. So if I have him in play and I cast Elspeth, Sun's Champion, and I make 3 soldiers, I can immediately tap him and the 3 soldiers to kill any creature. So he's pretty cool, because he will come to cleanse the world if we are true. High Market. Rainbow Veil. I wanted to play it. I just wanted to play it. I wanted to put it in deck so I could look at it. I didn't want it stuck in my art binder. I really like this card. I like the way it looks. I don't like the fact that I have to pass through my opponent, but it is what it is. Gives me 1 mana of any color. And I can do things with it. I can play political games. So if somebody is behind on lands, I could say, if I tap my Rainbow Veil and pass it to you, will you tap it in your turn and give it back to me? Pass it to me to target opponent. And if they say yes, then I'll loan them the Rainbow Veil. If not, I'll just tease them with it. Look what I have. Look what I can help you with. All you have to do is cooperate. Just accept my generous offer and give it back to me. We'll see what happens. Forced. Alright, here's why. This is pretty much why I have Sensei's Dividing Top. I mean, filtering the top of my library is always kind of useful, but sapling a Kofanar, so whenever she attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, gain life equal to its toughness, lose life equal to its power, put in my hand. So it's Sensei's Dividing Top, attack a sapling, put the trigger on the stack, look at the top 3 cards of my library, and then put them back in the order to ensure there is a creature on top, if there is a creature amongst the 3 that I look at the time. And if there is, then I draw a card and gain some life. So whereas the Vora Stronghold is Portuguese, I'm pretty sure this is Spanish. I'm pretty sure this Hondanada de Ave Maya. I want to put more N's in there. I want to say Hondanada de Ave Maya. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not the way to do it. So anyway, green, tap, regenerate target creature. Or you can tap for a colorless mana, depending on what you need at the time. Reanimate. Well, it is a life gain deck. So I should have spare life. I should have life to cast, to spend, to burn on bringing things back. In trying to banish it, your opponents can't cast commanders from the command zone. Or anywhere else other than the hand. So no, this is kind of narrow. Really, this only stops commanders. It stops Foretell. It stops. Yeah. Oh, actually, this stops a lot. Holy shit! I just realized it. So the genie specifically has a deck where he casts about a third of his spells from exile. He exiles the top cards of his library and he can cast them. Janet's Magistrate says, no, you can't do that. If you exile a card, it just stays exiled. Play fair. Ooh, that's dirty. There we go, there's the first square stat creature. Soul's Attendant. I've got Soul's Attendant and Soul Warden. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, gain 1 life. It isn't a May. I just do it because it's a life gain deck. Elixir of Immortality. So this is here to save my graveyard. Don't really know if I need to save my graveyard. Haven't played this deck much, actually. Not for a while. I need to see how it goes in the current environment. The environment, even though it stays and feels kind of static and doesn't change that much, it does change. It does ebb and flow. So right now, with the decks that Cube and the Genie are typically playing, maybe Ikra Shidiqi and Sidar Kondo are well positioned. I have to give them a try. Yeah, let's do a part 2. Okay, it's kind of a part 2. I'm just going to splice these together. Cball Coffers, there it is. Yes, overkill. Yes, I don't need it. But it does make a lot of black if I have the Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, so I have extra copies. I'm going to run them. Sylvan Library. Now this is cool. I really like this. I should get some more copies of these and put them in more decks. So, at the beginning of my draw step, I draw 2 more cards. But I have to keep them separate. The cards you draw in Sylvan Library, you have to keep separate from the rest of the cards in your hand. Otherwise, you're going to end up paying 8 life because your opponents don't know. If you mix them up, they don't know which cards you drew then, which cards are in your hand. So make sure you keep them separate. Because once you draw the 2, you can choose 2 cards in your hand, choose 2 that you drew, and put them back. So you draw 3. And then you can put 2 back or pay 4 life for each one you keep. If you mix them in your hand, if you've got your hand, and you draw your cards and you just put them with the others, your opponents, if they want to be dirty, if they want to be sticklers for the rules, like say, well, now they're mixed up in your hand and we don't know which ones you drew off the Sylvan Library effect, so pay 8 life and keep them all. And you kind of had to do that because you screwed up. Murmuring Bosk. It's a forest. I can find it with the fetch land. Cross and Verge. It finds forest and it can find Murmuring Bosk. Worldly Tutor. Go find a creature card, show it to everybody, shuffle your library, put it back on top at instant speed. Planes. Semite Elder. So the theme, again, higher toughness power. Creature can gain protection from the colors of target permanent you control until end of turn. This is... This would be even better if I had a way to steal somebody's creature. So if I stole something that's, say, blue and red, or even better, stole something that's all 5 colors. Oh, like some of the Eldrazi Cube is playing now in that new Eldrazi deck. Give my creatures protection from all colors. As it is, I can only give my creatures protection from black, green, or white. Black is highly relevant because all the creature destruction spells. White, same thing, all the targeted exile spells. Green, if I get the creature's protection from green, it's more like a combat trick, more for blocking. Demonic Tutor. Yes, I don't run Unrestricted Tutors in most of my decks. I put this in here initially as another way of finding that the Cball coffers are other half of Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. Not the best use for it, I admit, but it also finds the Aetherflux Reservoir. So it doesn't find my combo piece because it's not really a combo, but it does find a way to kill at least one player if I'm above 50 life. So if I have one turn left, or this guy's going to kill me, if I can get above 50 life and get that reservoir, finding it, then I can do unto him before he can do unto me. Forest. Commander Isha. I don't know why Commander Isha doesn't get more play. Or maybe he does, and I just don't realize it because nobody plays it in my group. So, anyway, 2 white for 2/4 flyer, protection of creatures. If I have Huatli or Duran out, he's effectively a 4/4 unblockable because he's got protection of creatures. They can't block him. Verdant Catacombs. Swampy Swamp. Meekstone. This became a group hug card once. It was funny. So I played Meekstone, and Cube was playing Eldrazi, and he really didn't like the Meekstone because he's got nothing with power less than 2. Evgeny, the genie.
Okay, Tommy.
What? I'm almost done.
Okay, Emma is with someone and we have no idea.
Okay, anyway, back to Meekstone. So, where was I? Oh yeah, Cube with his Eldrazi. So he could untap his stuff. The genie could. I could. So we were pretty happy he was out there. Soul Warden. Whenever another creature comes to play, you gain 1 life. There's no may. See, Soul's Tenant is you may. Soul Warden is nope, do it. If you forget, rewind, go back, reverse the game state. Forest, Marsh Flats. Tempt with Discovery. Just like, I don't know how many people watch a lot of my videos and how many people just watch a few. So Tempt with Discovery is great. You will invariably have one guy saying, don't do it. You will have another guy saying, I'm behind on lands, I need to do it. And if you have 3 opponents, you're going to have a third guy kind of in the middle that isn't decided. So it's a matter of, can the guy who knows what's going to happen and says, don't do it, does he win? Or does the guy who says, I'm behind on lands, I need the lands, I'm going to do it, does he win? And then the middle guy usually will be the tiebreaker, usually go for it. So you cast Tempt with Discovery. Search for a land card, put it on the battlefield. And then the guy with his behind on lands, he's going to say, screw it, I need a land, and he's going to dig for land. And then the tiebreaker guy who's sitting in the middle, if he does it, if he goes and gets the land too, the third guy is going to say, all right, screw it, I'm not going to be behind, I'm going to find a land too. You guys, you're making a big mistake. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how far you're pushing him ahead, the guy, me casting this. Or the one guy goes and gets his land. The tiebreaker guy, the guy in the middle, decides, yeah, I better not feed into this. So he stops, and the guy who says, don't do it, he's happy. Because I only get 2 lands for spending 4. But, to be fair, if I cast Sky Shard Claim, I would still be spending 4 for 2 forests. But, this can give me anything. This can give me Urborg and Cball Coffers. This can give me Yavimaya Hollow. This is it's a nice card. I like it. Droning Bureaucrats. Okay, X tap. Each creature with CMC mana cost X cannot attack or block. I've had it up to 6 before. There's been games where I've had 6 men available. I made sure to have 6 men available. And when somebody goes to their attack step, I say, creatures with CMC 6 cannot attack. And they're like, what? You have that much mana? I said, yes, look, see? I know what you're going to do, and I know what you have. And I don't want to tally attacking. I don't want to get my stuff exiled and lose it. Exploration. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. It'd be funny if the May wasn't there, right? Play an additional land on each of your turns. If it forced you to do it, if you had to do it, how would you go about it? You'd have to have the additional lands in your hand somehow. Rock's Faithmender. 1/5 lifelink. That's not very exciting. If you gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. That's more like it. That's pretty exciting. Erebos, God of the Dead. Your opponents can't gain life. Spend 1 in black, pay 2 life to our card. So if you got a bunch of life and you don't know what to do with it, Erebos, he knows what to do with it. He can help you out. Elspeth Tyrell. You gain 1 life for a creature you control. Or, she doesn't like making soldiers. Elspeth Sun Champion likes making soldiers. Elspeth Tyrell doesn't. And she also really doesn't like destroying things. But she'll do it. She'll do it for you. Because that's just how she works. Pernicious Deed. Sack it. Destroy everything for whatever you spend and less. Daxus, Blessed by the Sun. I used to have Auric Champion in this deck. And then I realized Daxus, so Auric Champion is any creature on anybody's side. Daxus is only my creatures, but he also triggers off creatures dying. And he can become really tough. So if I have Duran out, my devotion to white is 7, he's effectively a 7/7 for 2 mana. So he fits the theme. Big Monkey. So Big Monkey here. He only costs 5 for a 5/7. Of course, it's 3 green. And here I was complaining about the 3 black for Bolus the Citadel. And I've got something with 3 green. But the deck has a much easier time making 3 green than 3 black. So whenever I cast, not even comes into play, triggers on cast, a creature. I can blow up an artifact or enchantment. I can look at the top 5 cards in my library. And put a land. If I find a land, I can put it on the battlefield tapped. And the rest go on the bottom in random order. So it finds you more lands. Or I can gain 4 life. I can do something that I need. Winding Canyons. This isn't here because of Seedborn Muse. 2 tap until end of turn you may play creature cards and you can play instants. So if I've got the Muse, at the end of anybody's turn, I can tap out because I'm going to be untapping at the end of the next guy's turn anyway if I have Seedborn Muse. So this becomes a lot flashier if she's in play. Cultivate, basically your mama's reach with a different name. Forest, Linvala, Keeper of Silence. This is the Secret Lair version of Linvala. I've got one of the original one. I can't remember where I have her now. She's in the deck somewhere. So we have Linvala here. Activated abilities, creatures your opponent's control cannot be activated. So that shuts down a lot of things. A lot of random things. It's surprising how much stuff that shuts down. Swamp. Overgrown Tomb. Basilica Screecher. So 1/2 Extortionist Flying Extortionist. So this little Flying Extortionist, if he comes down early, then it's great. Then I can really start extorting people, getting life. Soren, Vengeful Bloodlord. So he's in here mainly for the Neg X. So yeah, it's great that my creatures and planeswalkers have lifelink. But, okay, he does 1 damage, target creature. Ooh, wow, 1 damage. Yay. And I gain 1 life. That does sound very impressive. But Neg X, return target's creature card with CMC X from my graveyard to the battlefield. So it has to be exact. I can't spend, say, 3 loyalty and give something for 2. If I spend 3 loyalty, I have to get something for 3. He's very precise. And it becomes a vampire, but that doesn't really matter. Unless my opponent has Olivia Voldaren. If I'm playing against somebody that has Olivia Voldaren, and I bring a creature back out of graveyard and becomes a vampire, that could be bad for me. Probably not going to happen though. Plains, Blinding Angel. So, whenever she smashes someone in the face, they don't get a combat step next turn. It's like a Preemptive Fog. Command Tower. Shiny, Rainbow, Beautiful Hawaii Command Tower. Tempt Garden. Vampire Nighthawk. So he flies, he death touches, he links life. He perches on a ledge and looks cool in front of the pale crescent moon. There's probably an eclipse, actually. Not really the moon, more just some kind of eclipse. Forbidding Watchtower. So this is in here. It comes fully tapped. I can tap for 1 white, or I can spend 1 in a colorless, 1 white and a colorless, and it becomes 1/5 creature. So if Duran is out, it's a 5/5 creature. So if Duran or Hotley are out, this is an on-demand 5/5 creature. Slagworm Armor. So if I give this to Duran, his toughness goes up to 11. And he smashes for his toughness, not his power. So he would be an 11/11. For the low cost of 3 mana, and then 1 for this and 3 to equip. Nature's Lore. Go find a force card, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle. Planes. Okay, that's it for Ikra Shidiqi Sidar Kondo. So, I didn't really talk about why it's a prog deck. I just talked about the deck, presented some of the better cards, talked about the cards, some of the stories of what I have, why I built it. But if you saw that it doesn't really have any way of protecting itself. I don't have Ghostway in here, I don't have Semester's End in here, I do have Teferi's Protection, I don't have Heroic Intervention, so I don't have a lot of ways to protect myself. I don't have any counters. It's not that fast. I don't have a lot of ramp. I've got enough ramp to get by to fix my colors for the most part, get some extra lands out. Don't have a bunch of mana rocks, don't have that many mana creatures. So it's not a fast enough deck for a Shujna. In fact, sometimes it's not fast enough for prog, but it is fun to play. It is fun to play, and I'll keep it. Let's get some kind of shot for the thumbnail. Let's just put some random cards out there that look pretty. Does that look pretty? Is that impressive? Let's get something impressive. Let's get something that will get people's attention when they see it on the thumbnail. Okay, that'll do.